Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Retro Gamers Podcast, episode 112, I believe at this point. Larry here.
And Anthony here.
We're going to need more specific today on Anthony.
Anthony is physically here in Parsippany, New Jersey.
Yes, Anthony is finally flown in from Los Angeles, California, which is very cool. You're in for your birthday.
I am.
Which is going to be exciting.
Sure.
And we may do a birthday show tomorrow that he doesn't know about.
We will not.
What? Well, I may need to do one if you're not going to be here next week.
I won't be at the birthday tomorrow.
That's fair enough. So Anthony is one of 5 of them that are eventually going to be at the table today.
That is wait, everybody else is named Anthony?
Yeah, everyone except Pete.
Okay.
And Tony.
Okay.
So
there are going to be 5 Anthonys here at some point.
Pretty much.
That's great.
And we have this week from the Yin and the Yang podcast.
Hey, yo. It is I, Anthony Chu.
Okay, there we go.
And that's Anthony Chu.
What's going on, Anthony?
What's up, everybody?
Hi.
It's great to be back.
Okay, very
Always
good.
great to be back at the Retro Gamers Podcast, the mothership, the flagship show of the More of the Same Network family of podcasts.
Oh, that's funny because I heard you say other things on your show about us.
I say that my show is the garbage time show of the entire network.
Oh man, that's a great slogan.
Wow.
It's true.
It is not.
It's
Stop
damn
it.
true.
Stop it.
It's not true. You run a very good podcast. It's extremely informative. I like it when you talk about health and wellness because you know what? Some people out there need that positive reinforcement and need that information in order to become better, healthier people.
You know, we've been really getting a lot of good positive feedback for that, so it's greatly appreciated to hear, man.
And we on the other side, we promote being fat and lazy, so you sit on your ass and play video games at home.
Our logo is "We haven't seen the sun since 1986."
Exactly.
Our slogan, excuse me.
Yes.
There
Tagline.
you go.
Tagline, whatever.
I like that.
I'm very tired.
That's a very good one.
Exactly. So our shows promote different things.
Absolutely.
We want you to gain weight.
And never see the sun.
I just want you to achieve your goals. It's as simple as that.
That's right.
Whether
Goals,
you gain or lose weight.
Like getting to the end level.
There you go.
It's all about getting to the end level so you can see the credits that are 2 seconds long and 8 big games.
My end level may be a little shorter than everyone else's at the table, but we'll figure that one out.
You know what? There's always time until there's not.
So we are here in Parsippany, New Jersey. We're actually, well, technically I don't know if this is Parsippany, but we're at B-Dubs. We just came from Chiller Theater, October 2018, and by God, it was probably one of the greatest shows I've ever been to.
Well, if that was one of the greatest shows you've ever been to, I hate to see what the bad ones were.
I'm telling you, we're going to talk about it in a little while. But so this is going to be a little bit of I'm not going to say a special edition, but we're going to talk about Chiller Theater. We did see some stuff gaming-wise at Chiller. But first, for an alum of Chiller, and Yin and Yang, Anthony.
Yes, sir.
What do you think of the show? What do you think of today's endeavor?
Well, I survived being nearly killed by a WWE Hall of Famer.
Which is amazing.
I got to actually, really, it was just, the whole point of it was to hang out with you guys. And for me, that's all that matters. Because...
That's so sweet.
Well,
you two haven't seen each other in how long?
I know. Feeling's not mutual, but,
It has. And being greeted by Anthony as Slim, that is a very, very good thing,
I appreciate that. Thank you. I disagree completely, but...
Yep. Boys are back.
You know when you have that one friend you cannot talk to for like years and years, and when you see him, you pick up right where you left off?
Right, exactly.
This is the three of us.
This is it.
Exactly. Well, we talk every week, Larry,
This is true.
so-
And we talk every week.
We do.
Right. But Anthony and I don't talk every week. Maybe every other week. I'll get phone calls from him, and he wants my sage advice on things that I know nothing about. And I offer
Hollywood stock options.
Yes, and I basically Google the answer for him.
Yep, that's a good one.
No, it's great to be back home. It's great to see weather.
Yeah, right. When you arrived at a terrible time.
Yeah, this is
With
supposed to be the first nor'easter of the season.
I don't even think it would be really a nor'easter. I mean, it was bad this morning, but it wasn't.
This rain.
Yeah, honestly,
This is called rain.
it wasn't 100% terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
this morning. So
trees aren't falling, branches are safe.
That's
we're all
Long
good.
Island.
But you know what? It's nice to be home. It's nice to see weather. It's also nice to celebrate my birthday.
Yes.
Back where it all started.
This is also your first Chiller Theater, am I correct, Ant?
No.
This version
of Chiller Theater. I used to go to Chiller Theater when it was specifically a horror movie convention, and that they would have panels for upcoming horror films.
We went that one time.
Yeah, we went that one time.
That's the first time then when I saw Virgil set up outside
Yes.
of the venue illegally.
Yep, we went. Actually, this was back in like the early 2000s, I want to say, because it was when it was. They had panels for Darkness Falls, because I met Emma Caulfield from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who played Anya. My favorite
I thought we
character.
went that like the late 90s. I thought we went.
Maybe it's late 90s, and it was. They also had the cast of Final Destination 2.
Oh,
and
okay.
We got autographs for that one.
Oh,
Which
okay.
included Ali Lauder.
Yes.
Oh, I'm jealous
Buffy
now.
Vane.
So I went to Chiller Theater a long time ago before they changed the format. This format is definitely more nostalgia driven.
Yes.
It's not so much panels as it is about for example, meet the cast of The Love Boat, which makes no sense for a convention called Chiller Theater.
This is true. Yeah, it's very non-chiller. But they do have panels, to be honest with you. Just not, remembering George Romero was today. British Horror Invasion was a panel. Italian Horror Invasion.
Yes.
Then they had rock and roll. So they did have stuff.
They had a panel about remembering George Romero?
Yeah, it was 1:40 p.m. today.
I didn't realize that.
Yep.
I would have loved to
It's
have gone
happening
to
right
that.
now.
Oh,
And everyone
As we
else is
record.
on their way.
Exactly. Okay, great. But so anyway, to circle back, I thought what we can do right now before the rest of our guests get here, we'll hold off on the rest of the Chiller Theater talk. And I thought since this episode is dropping the day before Halloween, and the day that actually the day I will be stepping on a plane and going to China.
Yeah, you're picking right up where you left off. To go.
I'm going from New York to China. It should be interesting.
Any advice?
you know what? The best piece of advice I can give you is that since it's such a crowded place and there's really no personal space involved over there, just be very wary of your wallet and passport and your IDs and stuff.
Don't do
extended.
anything.
And their sanitary conditions
this is what he's
there,
gonna wanna hear.
like, is not exactly up to par with the Western world, even though it's a very advanced society.
So I'm not going.
Well, you're gonna have to go, right? Because you have work, don't you?
No, I got to go for work. That's okay. I don't plan on leaving the Hilton.
Polka Gai Tao.
It ain't Japan.
No, it definitely isn't. And
Hashtag racism. Hashtag
What?
racism. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
Was
Right,
I
so
thinking out loud again? Oh, I'm sorry.
okay, so anyway, as I was trying to say before.
Yes, let's get into it.
Yes, before we talk about Chiller Theater, Halloween is upon us. Tomorrow's Halloween, and I know on last week's episode we talked a little bit about Halloween, the movies,
Yes, we did. That was one of the best moments ever.
as I compared the Halloween franchise to Kingdom Hearts, which was weird.
Awesome.
But
And it worked.
Right, but since tomorrow's Halloween, I thought it would be a cool idea to talk about video games that scared us,
Yes.
whether as kids, adults, whatever, but
Yep.
video games that scared us. They don't necessarily have to be horror-themed games. We've talked about horror-themed games before on the show. But I think games that scared us is a good topic.
I think so. And I can tell right off the bat, the one that always jumps to mind for me was on the GameCube, the remake of Resident Evil on the GameCube. Now, the original Resident Evil was creepy.
Yes.
Especially because it was live-action cutscenes and live-action opening sequence. And to see that full motion of the zombie dogs and, with the helicopter crash and all this stuff. And then, the eeriness of walking the mansion. But with the Resident Evil remake on GameCube, now obviously they jacked up the graphics, which worked in the fear factor. Because I remember playing that, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this legitimately. I'm turning the lights off. I'm getting sensory deprivation, and let's play this game. And you're walking down the hall, and a pebble comes through the window, and I dang near had to clean my pants. I was so scared.
From a pebble?
Yeah, no, it scared the hell out of me.
That's awesome.
I mean, and I don't think I played it again since. I put it down and called it a day. I remember that one. That one freaked me out.
Yep. And sticking to the Resident Evil theme, I remember when I bought Resident Evil when it first came out on Sony PlayStation, which, by the way, if Sony is listening, if Resident Evil isn't on your PlayStation Classic, don't even bother releasing it because it's not worth the money. Just putting that out there right now.
Fair enough.
Anyway, so Resident Evil on Sony PlayStation, I bought it when it first came out back in '96, if I remember correctly. And I just remember, now granted, It was all polygon awesomeness,
Oh, it was definitely up to par.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, back then, breaking.
Oh, back then, yeah.
The graphics were amazing. It was 3D.
Yep.
But I still remember playing as Jill Valentine and entering that one hallway where the dog crashes through the window.
Yes.
I was like, I remember, because I did the same thing. I did it with the lights off because I'm like, okay, this should be really cool. I was like, I remember jumping on my bed. Literally, like I jumped out of my seat. I was like, it totally caught me by surprise. And then from that moment on, obviously, I was all in for that game. It was amazing start to finish. But I do remember that specific moment scaring the crap out of me. And then there was another moment that follows right after that when you see the first zombie.
Okay, yes.
You see the zombie for the first time. It's chewing on a body.
Yep.
And then they do a close-up of it
and
as
you
it slowly
hear that noise,
slowly
too.
turns its head
to
look at you. Totally creepy, really eerie, straight out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
Definitely just awesome, scary moment in video game.
I find that one of the video games that really freaked me out was the one, I think it was on Sega CD. The one with
came on Sega
Dana
CD
Pluto.
Oh, Dana played Night Trap?
Night Trap.
That's it. Night
Yeah, I
Trap.
can see that when you first played it. I mean, now it's campy.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yes,
but
yeah,
I'm saying
you're
for
good.
its time and at its time, it's just that nobody's has ever really experienced almost like a quote unquote live type of graphic. Or what's the best way
I know
to
what you're talking
describe
about.
this video
So
game?
with Night
Full
Trap,
motion video.
not even full motion. I think the fact that it's happening in real time.
Yes.
That was
That's
it's in
okay,
real time.
that's
the
what it
only
is.
game that comes to that, which actually another one that's scary. Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yes.
Yes.
Five Nights at Freddy's plays the same way.
Yes,
and I
yes.
tried playing that once, and again, I was not playing that because you have to keep jumping from camera to camera, and things are happening all the time. And every once in a while, you see that a bear kind of quickly run past the camera, and you're like, "What the hell was that?"
Yep.
But Night Trap also did that. Also, that sense of urgency. Because it doesn't have to be maybe like horror. Even the sense of urgency can be terrifying like that.
Well, yeah, it's the tension. It just builds tension because you have
it's like-
you have to constantly be on.
Right,
the move.
right, right.
Like the Saw movies can be kind of horror, but it's not supernatural.
Right.
Yeah. Any other games that probably would have completely freaked you out?
The other, honestly, I really would agree with you guys as far as Resident Evil. The original Resident Evil was just something that nobody's ever experienced at that time, and just like the zombies were creepy, man. I mean, I'm all about zombie anything, but that was just really tried and true. The slow moving, very hard to beat, especially in numbers and packs.
Yep.
Dude, I don't remember the major difference between Resident Evil and Resident Evil Director's Cut.
I could not tell you.
Okay,
either.
fair enough.
Was it gorier?
I think there was more cutscenes or something,
I think
or
they added cutscenes.
and like there was more to the
yeah,
story.
Yeah. Okay, I can
There's more to the
understand
story.
that.
Silent Hill, another one. I mean, I know we're going to be talking about really. It's kind of like, duh, these are scary, but that's what they were. And when
the
they
point.
first came out, we didn't know.
Yeah, Silent Hill was another one, especially because, like, in a majority of the game, you're walking through this really weird fog.
And it's more the limitations that caused that.
Yes.
They just couldn't render the city.
Yeah, they couldn't render the city.
So they did the fog,
They did
yeah.
the fog, and you know what? The fog added to the tension of that game because you honestly did not know what was
Yeah.
going to come at you. And the Silent Hill series, you got to give them credit for some of the most innovative monsters that you face.
Oh,
like
yeah,
the
creepy.
Pyramid Head,
Yeah, oh,
and the
man.
creepy nurses, and like they really did a good job with their monster creation.
Let me ask you questions. I know you're more familiar with these games than I am. Clock Tower, Seventh
Oh, yeah.
Guest. How were those, like the first go around?
Seventh Guest, I will say Seventh Guest, which was one of my, I talk about that game all
Yeah.
the time. And that game was more, I guess it kind of, you categorize those as like adventure games. 'Cause
Okay.
they're like a first-person adventure game where you're going around the house and you're trying to find the puzzles
Yeah.
that you have to solve. And then when you solve the puzzle, you get a cutscene.
Okay.
And the cutscene was basically telling you the story of what happened about these 6 guests who entered the house and all, died.
Yeah.
So that one was actually more. I mean, it was a little more macabre and creepy. I don't know if it was necessarily scary.
Gotcha.
per se.
Do me a favor, look up Macabre.
Look at what?
Macabre.
Macabre?
Macabre. So that was Seventh Guest, and then with
I'm kidding. You don't have to look up Macabre.
with Clock Tower was actually more of a. Clock Tower was also like a point-and-click adventure game, kind
Okay.
of like Maniac Mansion. with a slasher twist to it. So there was a villain called Scissorman who would show up,
Yes.
and you had to run and hide or fight back and get away from him. So it was kind of a cool. It was a cool concept for a game. They were actually going to make a similar game based on the Scream movies, like Clock
really?
Tower. But it never happened.
Oh man.
Yeah, they were planning
that
that
would've
for a
been
while, and
interesting.
I was really excited about that too, and that never came out.
Ant,
Yes,
yin
sir.
and yang, Ant. This is going to be tough, especially when everyone else shows up. Like, what do you feel like of these horror genres? Like, what would you say really gives the scare? Those like jump scares, the tension, the atmosphere. Is it just the goriness could be scary? Because I feel like with us at least, growing up, we've all known each other for at least 25 years.
Right.
Two of you
Yes.
longer.
Sure.
With each other. I think we've all been so desensitized to gore because growing up, we all watched. Well, you guys made me watch horror.
Yes.
And I'm still not into. I'm still not into the genre.
No, we like giving you nightmares.
So I think the gore.
And then you became a nightmare.
Wow. Thank you. Guess whose show's getting canceled?
An American nightmare. Well, I'd expect that. I expect that the cancellation notice anytime soon.
What do you think would make, like, maybe not the gore factor, but what do you think is best would make for a horror game? The atmosphere, the eeriness, the silence.
Here's what separates the modern day horror video games compared to the
Even real
retro-
quick to go back to Haunted House on Atari.
Oh yeah,
That was creepy in itself.
yeah.
Right. I think a lot of it is the developers who created these games had a sophisticated way, or you can also even call it an art form, of giving you either an element of surprise, giving you something that's a twist, giving you something that builds up. We live in a very results-oriented, driven, world where we expect things almost immediately. Back in these times, what makes classic movies and video games that are scary is that there's a build-up involved. There's a sophisticated way of telling a storyline, and then adding little intricate details that make it very important. That's why these are classics, and that's why these video games are as scary as they are. Nowadays, when you play something, and I'm not saying I'm against modern-day video games, but it's like you expect the gore. Again, going back to what you were saying, we're desensitized. So I think that the way it is now is that we just expect the gore. We just expect the horror to come out. Now it's like, let's scare us by giving us something that is so, like, graphics have to be great and insane, and they have to be over the top,
Well, I'm going to say this, and I know our whole niche here is with classic games, but nowadays, to your point, and tell me if you agree, LA, like with the games
what
today,
are we going?
we're going to have to go
Zombieland now?
yeah. The games today, like with the Resident Evil 2 remake, do you think they can scare again based on kind of what he was saying, as far as we probably got to the point desensitizing, we're expecting stuff to happen. Do you think they can scare us like in a game like that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, horror movie. Just to go with horror movies these days are always trying to find new ways to scare us, and they succeed. Some succeed, some fail. And I feel the same way with video games. There's always a way to scare your audience, and you just gotta know exactly when, because when you're sitting there and you're anticipating something coming. All right, I'm walking by this door that's mysteriously closed and won't open. All right, if I'm sitting there in the audience, I'm expecting that door to open and somebody to come out and attack you, right?
Yeah.
I was like, so what's the natural thing to do? You don't go by the door. You don't go by the door. You go with the window.
Yeah.
You go with something like that. So it really is just being able to take people's expectations, turn it on their head,
Yeah.
so that they can scare you. And it's entirely possible to do that in a video game.
Yeah.
So video games today can absolutely succeed in doing that. And I'm curious to see what they change in Resident Evil 2 in order to achieve that.
And what I want to say is this, with stuff like that, nowadays, how you get the scare? Virtual reality.
Oh, okay.
I've tried a couple demos in VR, and they scared the hell out of me. I mean, terrified me.
Well, but that's
So.
but okay.
That's
now,
all right. Come on,
Do
don't
you
worry about
chalk
it.
that up
We're
as
gonna-
the
we have more guests.
evolutionary?
That's all right. No, not at all.
Here's the thing, though. The question that I have is that do you just chalk that up to just the evolutionary process that's a result of technology? Because, I mean, is it really as scary as, let's say, I know it's two different time periods, but can you really just chalk it up to technology just being at its best as opposed to, going back in time and being scared in a different manner? Is it just evolution?
I think something like that, yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, as time goes on as graphics get more advanced and gameplay gets more involved, it's just naturally going to, you got to up the stakes. Otherwise, it's not going to be interesting to anybody. So.
4 tenders?
All right, 4 tenders. Who's got it?
I got
Oh, that was you.
Oh, they're
Okay.
ordering food already. Isn't that interesting?
It's kind of going in the middle.
Well, on my show, we emphasize eating healthy.
Oh, enchilada and pumpkin.
And
That's you,
there's
right?
a side of fries here.
I don't know which one's pumpkin.
There's chicken tenders. Good
Right here?
grief.
Side salad that goes with cucumber.
But I'm going to do a cheap plug while these guys are just getting their food.
Pretty much on this
is
side
to
of the table
basically
for
say
now.
that
you know which one's the
we
pumpkin?
emphasize working out, eating right on the Yin and Yang podcast that drops
sweet.
every Friday.
Thank you.
So, you retro
I didn't
gamer
even know you were
fans
still talking.
out there, please, by all means, just come on over to the show because it would be great. It would really be great.
All right, so we're going to take a pause here for a moment for you. It's only going to be a second as we get everything in order here because the rest of the Anthonys have all showed up, and we're going to see what we do. So we'll be right back. Okay. So we're back here on the Retro Gamers, and we have 4, though I'm sure you're going to hear from a few of them. Very special guests. I'm just going to make this easy. Everyone's named Anthony. Even Pete's going to be named Anthony in this one. So but everyone, if you want to say hi, Pete, how you doing?
Hello, America.
Yes. Hello, world.
Hello, world.
Anthony doesn't want to be on it. That's all right. Lovable Loki.
Hello, Darkness, my old friend.
Nice, I like it. And then my good friend Tony.
Hello, everyone. I'm Anthony's dad.
I have a father.
So
You're not 50 years old.
Thank you, Pete.
So we all just came from Chiller Theater, and these are the guys I usually end up rolling with to Chiller for the longest time. Just your thoughts on what you saw today at Chiller. What do you think of today's show, and kind of what are some of the highlights that you kind of ran into? Let's start with Anthony here, old lovable Loki.
Put me on the spot like that. I don't know. I think my favorite part was meeting probably the actor who played Michael Myers because he was great. Nice
From the first Halloween, right?
From the first Halloween.
Okay.
Yeah. He fell out of the building at the end of the movie.
Oh, okay.
So.
Spoiler alert.
Like, if you haven't watched Halloween
There
yet,
were
was
multiple
40 years ago,
actors
Larry.
who played Michael Myers
I think
in
you
the
can
first
bleep that
one,
out.
so he's the one who took the fall.
Fair enough. Gotcha.
he
I
did
didn't
all the
know
hard
that.
work.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
took all the licks. I guess put me on the spot like that.
The pop. Who'd you get signed on the pop besides?
Oh, well, I got Michael Myers, of course, signed,
Yeah.
and then I got PJ Souls, who plays the victim who got choked out by Michael Myers.
Okay.
Because she wanted a beer. So.
Very cool.
Yeah, that was great, but
Yeah.
she was great. And then also, I think Michael Myers tried to photobomb me when I had a photo with her. So, and of course, it wasn't the photo, so it sums up my life right now. So, yeah,
Awesome. Photobomb by a legend.
it was. Yeah.
Pete, how about you? What'd you see?
Oh, it was. I'll say when we were going over the guest list, and it builds over the months. They threw 2 of the Ramones in there. They were not original members, but they had CJ, who's one of the bass players, and Richard Ramones, who's one of the drummers. I have a daughter that plays the bass, so my highlight was I met CJ Ramone, and he was when the Ramones were guests on The Simpsons. He had the great line after they sang "Happy Birthday" to Mr. Burns. He's the one that said, "Go to hell, you old bastard."
Love that.
So
Hey, I think they like us. Have the Rolling Stones killed.
That's the passage. So I got him to sign "Go to
And-
Hell." Yeah, good.
At this table, guess who used to work at Fox and have a lot of stuff with The Simpsons?
Oh, yeah, isn't that right?
Yeah, that was correct. But I don't work there anymore.
And you got to work at Nakatomi Plaza.
And I got to work in Nakatomi
As
Plaza.
Krusty the Clown would say, yeah, but it was Fox.
I tend to agree.
But so anyway, so meeting a couple of the Ramones. Richie signed a couple of drumsticks he gave to us. C.J. Ramone sent a beautiful autograph on my daughter's
That was
bass.
nice. Yeah, that was nice.
It came out really nice. So that's and Anthony, not my son Anthony, who's sitting here really talking up a storm.
Dad?
But the Loki Anthony, he took some great pictures.
Hey, you're welcome.
Yeah, actually, there were nice
you
photos.
do have to send them to me, though. I mean, I know they
I
exist.
might
but-
forget, though.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm memorializing it here
we're going
in
to.
perpetuity. so there was, my son Anthony and me, we met PJ Souls also. Super engaging. Gave us a big hug when we left. She was in Rock and Roll High School, which was a Ramones movie made by Roger Corman, and so. And I've always been a fan, so that was like really huge for me. But there was so many other people there that, like we met Carmen Electra. Of course, that was
Boy, did we ever.
super build up, and they had all these rules that you could go into later about what she couldn't sign.
Well, I mean, there was only really two rules. I mean, with Carmen Electra, who basically became famous with her multiple appearances in Playboy, which were all very tactful, very nice.
Tastefully done.
Yes, and then she was on Baywatch. But she would not sign any nude photos nor Playboys.
Then
All
why
right.
would she take them then?
I
little
mean, I guess
hypocritical.
it's just years later, I guess. You know what I mean?
There was a guy online. He said to us, "What has she got to hide?" Like, and we're like, "I don't think it's
And the guy-
nothing."
Shame.
Shame.
Her relationship with her father.
It's so hard. So with her and the guy in front of us had this. How big would you say that picture was?
That thing was bigger than 16 by 20. It was big.
Yeah. All right. And as we have the food, we got the food being delivered. So as that's being happening, and so we had this gorgeous. It was one of her layouts, and yes, it was a little revealing. And unfortunately, and even her herself, Carmen Electra even said, "Hey, this is a really nice looking piece of art."
It was very tastefully
But
done.
unfortunately, her handler or whatever just would not let her sign it. And it stinks because it was really, really nice piece of work. Thank you.
I'll tell you this. I'd hang it in my den.
No, it was really, really nice.
Yeah. And it was put off to the side, and she would not sign it.
Yeah.
So that's not, I don't know. We never found out why.
Yeah. So, but that was, and then even like meeting Carmen Electra, she was like, "Hi, how are you? Oh, thank you for being a fan." Like she was aloof, almost like when we met Tara Reid. Yeah.
She wasn't aloof. She was
I
a
was going to
goof.
say, how high was Tara Reid?
Tara was, I don't know what she was on, to be honest with you.
She was on Pluto.
Yeah, it was weird. But, and with, so the Ramones, I was in the room with the Ramones.
Yes.
So that was very cool.
Yeah.
Then we were there with Carmen Electra. I myself got autograph with Carolyn Monroe from Star Crash, which was featured on Mystery Science Theater 3000, the season 11. That's where I found it. I'm never going to remember. Wilmington Gillett, I think his name is.
Yeah, Gillette.
Gillette. All right, I was off. Wilmington Gillette. Can I get another Coke? Pepsi? Whatever. Got him to sign a pop vinyl of Jason.
Jason. He played Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th Part 2. And if you saw on his billboard in the back, it was the Jason who makes his first kill. So he's the first kill Jason.
Oh, yes, that is true. He does have them.
There was no Jason in Part 1.
This is very true. And with Jason, what I did was I brought with me a pop. If you need to put the mics down while you're eating, go right ahead. Don't worry about it. Just on your lap or on the table, whatever. It don't matter. I brought my pop vinyl. I brought the 8-bit Jason pop vinyl from the NES game because I figure, and if you know me, and you know me as well, I'm very much a stickler. If you're not related to this item I'm having you to sign, I don't want you to sign it. And as it was pointed out to me, the Jason from the Nintendo was from Part 3.
Correct.
So then that bugged me. But I'm like, you know what? I'm here. I have it. Let's do it. But he had the correct pop from Part 2 with the thing. Thank you. That's mine. So I ended up being happy in the end. What do you need? Anybody need anything? We're good? Okay. So in the end, that was pretty good. What else did I get autographed?
I thought that was it for your autograph.
Wilmington, Carolyn Monroe. Oh, the Kittner boy from Jaws.
What you
His
left
death
out
was
was
hilarious.
Paulie Shore. Looked like he hasn't taken a shower since like Veterans Day.
Well, I didn't get his autograph with Paulie Shore, but yes, he
Yeah,
looked.
I looked at him. He looked
Paulie-
so disheveled, and
Paulie Shore looked
scary.
like he needed money.
Oh, I thought he always needed money.
So I got the Kittner boy, and I remember I went up to him. I gave him the NES cartridge, and he's like, "Oh, this is cool game. You play a game that I get killed in." And I didn't have a heart to tell him that the game is based on Jaws 4, not Jaws 1. I figured I'll let that one slide with him.
By that point, his character had been dead for like 15 years.
Really, it had no point at that point.
He might have forgotten.
His
Yeah, I
mom's
think
still
he
looking
has.
for him.
But that was basically with the autographs. I didn't do a lot of photo ops, but there is one altercation I want to talk about right now. And you may want to, Pete, if you don't mind, you may want to give up that microphone for a moment. So we get into a room, and Anthony here, Anthony Chu from the Yin and the Yang podcast, met his idol, wrestling idol, Mr. Bob Backlund, two-time WWE champion, held the title for 5 years and then again for 2 years. WWE Hall of Famer, 2013, Madison Square Garden. And do you want to kind of walk us through this altercation
Okay, so
with a 60-something-year-old man?
sure. Now, bear in mind of something. He's Mr. Bob Backlund's an All-American, right? Beat superstar,
Legitimate All-American.
right? Legitimate NCAA All-American. At the same time, he beat superstar Billy Graham, right, for the WWF at
I
that
don't
time.
know what that is. WWE Championship.
No, WWF. This E stuff is garbage. Anyway, point being is that, as I was rudely interrupted by Larry, all right, Mr. Backlund is just a huge influence. And I told him, I said, you're the reason why I entered WWE ring, and meaning training in professional wrestling. And Mr. Backlund was like, well, I appreciate that. Walter's a great trainer. He's a great guy and all that. So what happens, right? I want to take a photo, which is what I paid for. Now, Larry,
Hey, well, hold on. He started talking to you at first.
he started talking to me, yes.
Because then all of a sudden all of a sudden he was doing a headstand in the middle of the room.
No.
Took his shoes
That
off.
was after.
No, it wasn't. It was before. the
No.
situation.
No. What had happened was I just wanted to take a regular photo just standing, right? And all of a sudden, what does Larry do? Right? He says one sentence that nearly got me killed today, which is,
Put him in the chicken wing.
okay, now for those of you who don't know what that is, all right, the crossface chicken wing is a pro wrestling submission hold that has there's no counter for it.
Well, not only that, look,
It's a legitimate shoot
If you
move.
put it on for real, it's going to hurt. It
Yes.
really does hurt.
So it's a real legitimate shoot
Yeah.
move that
Because
cranks
your arm goes behind your back
it
like
cranks
this.
your arm, your
and it
shoulder,
pulls
and
chin
your
back
neck.
the other way.
Right.
It can hurt. For
So
real.
it's like a twister.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I was like, wait a minute. And all of a sudden, Mr. Backlund applies
all
the
of a sudden,
CrossFit.
I see red in
Right.
Bob Backlund's face. He grabs him by the arm, throws him into the move for real, and begins to drag him around the room.
Now, bear in mind of something.
Screaming something, I don't know.
I'm 210 pounds, and I'm about 5'9", 5'10", and he is about my height, and he's a little slimmer than me. He's about I think he's right now weighing around 202,
Do you know what he was
Right.
yelling when he had him in the chicken wing?
and he
No, I
was.
don't. There was another thing that he did later.
And then he basically just, I've never been thrown around like that ever. And that was pretty serious. Not even when I'm competing in martial arts. And I think that the reason why he did apply that move on me is simply because I told him that I trained with Kil Kowalski in his school of pro wrestling. So he knew who Walter was, and he applied it. And that was the closest near-death experience I've ever had.
That was a full-on assault.
Yeah.
And if it was anyone else, he could have been brought up on charges.
Yeah.
The way he attacked him. But being Anthony, being me, we'd be like, do it again.
Here's
it's
the
like
thing.
at New York Comic Con. A couple years ago at New York Comic Con, we're at the Jacob Javits Center. And we're walking around, and in the basement of the Javits, where they usually have a lot of the autographs, which is very echoey, was Greg the Hammer Valentine. And for those of you who remember Greg Valentine back in the 70s, the 80s, and he has just his hands like the size of just a meat cleaver. And one of the moves, he would just, chop you. So, but not like forward, like he would like slap down onto your chest. So I'm walking around the floor, and all of a sudden I hear, ba-boom. It's like, what the hell was that? Ba-boom. People were paying Greg Valentine to 100% slap them in the chest. I mean, these guys were taking their shirts off, and he was rearing back, not holding back, and just boom. I was walking over to do this when they're like, sir, you cannot touch the guests. You cannot attack the guests. It's like, damn, almost got it.
So, and then all of a sudden, then Anthony and Larry basically say, well, do you want to take just a regular picture?
Yeah,
so all of a sudden,
you want to take a normal
out
photo
of nowhere,
with this human being.
Mr. Backlund just screams out, we don't take regular pictures!
He grabs him
And-
again,
right.
and then just gets into the camera and starts screaming, we don't... Can you pull that one up just real quick? Can you pull up?
Yeah. So basically,
rest of the table.
what had happened was
Congratulations, you're our biggest audience.
the best way to explain this in every sense of the word.
Oh, no, that one, yeah.
The best way to explain this in every sense of the word was I literally thought he was just going to basically headlock me and pretty much choke me out or something. It was pretty scary.
Oh, my God.
But nevertheless, I mean, it was awesome. And the crossface chicken wing happened so quickly, I didn't
in
even...
a blink of an eye.
I didn't even know that
And
that's what
your
happened.
face. I go, put him in the chicken, because that's what he did to me. Yeah. Like, that's what he did to me. When I met Bob Backlund, he put me in the chicken wing, but he didn't drag me around. And the picture I have with Backlund, like, you see the shock and awe on my face. Because I'm like, what is happening right now? What is this person doing? And that's what happened with Anthony here. I go, put him in the chicken wing, and then he grabs it, and you just see Anthony be like, what? And then just next thing you know.
But you can't say I wasn't trained well. I did sell it very well.
Forget about selling it. I honestly I thought I had to jump in. I honestly was like, okay.
Jump in. I was enjoying every minute of it. I was gonna sell it to TMZ, like WWE wrestler accosts fan at convention.
Larry.
And he was wearing the Connor's
Larry,
Cure
I'm
thing, so.
probably on somebody's YouTube right now.
Kim
all right?
Fields was sitting there going, what is happening right now? Because Tootie was in the same room.
Yeah, they put poor Tootie in there with the wrestlers. I'm sure she was completely confused.
Here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that somebody recorded that on YouTube, and I'm probably it's gone viral probably,
I hope
like
so.
Pete just said, right? Earlier. And
That was the best thing
And then-
I've ever witnessed at
well,
Comic-Con.
and
Or Chiller, excuse me,
save
Chiller Theater.
You were laughing the entire time.
Oh, I lost it.
Right? And at my expense, obviously. And, well, if you were going to kill off the show and myself, this would have been the perfect time to do it, Larry, if you wanted to kill off the yin and the yang.
Now, I have options now.
Yeah.
Who wants a new podcast
You see
on
how
my
much
network?
I'm loved in the more of the same network family of podcasts is that they would rather just, flatline me pretty much.
Oh,
but
man.
then I talked to him about, I asked him one last question, which was, what is your workouts like? And he was trying to advertise like his this bench that he has.
Yeah, he was selling a
Right, it's
stool.
like a stool
called
that
a
you can
gym
work
in a
out.
Box.
Right.
All it was a stool.
And basically, what was interesting was he showed me that he could do a handstand. That's when he was doing
I
the
wish.
handstand, and
Trust
I got that on video.
One the handstand was
And that was
before
just
all this.
unbelievable
Whatever.
how good he was. He's in amazing shape.
He is.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, so that's that on that.
Oh, actually, there's
Oh,
one last
all
thing.
right.
I went back and I gave him like a postcard of the Statue of Liberty, right? And he just says to me, and I said, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Backlund. He goes, do not exacerbate me, young man. Do you not have the perspicacity to
used to use
see
big words when he was a bad
that
guy.
I am talking to one of the plebeians of society? And I'm like, okay, here you go. Thank you. Bye. And then, I don't even think he recalled putting me in the move, but that's a different story.
Well, no, I have a feeling he remembered, and he was going to go for round 2 if he didn't get out of there.
He's going to put you in a figure. I want to pull Orndorff to pile drive you.
Hey, Larry?
Yes.
For somebody that doesn't know anything about wrestling, I got two words and an opinion for Anthony.
Yeah.
Salino and Barnes.
So I'm going to, for a moment, I want to bring him back just real quick to game because I want to kind of get an idea here. Anyone who wants to chime in on this, don't worry about it. What is some of your favorite games? Like growing up, I mean, you're still growing up, but what are some of your favorite games to play?
From all the way back when you were a kid when the Wii U came out.
So like 2 years ago, is that what you're trying to say? Okay.
I know, because I know you're big into Pokemon.
Well, well, I love Pokemon growing up.
Yep.
I think I have to say, personally, Yellow version from Pokemon is like the greatest out of all
Okay.
Pokemon games, of course. But then for gaming, for Xbox, I have to say, personally, Halo is the greatest.
I've seen you play a lot of Halo,
That's my
yeah.
voice cracks. That's beautiful. But
All right, Halo.
I mostly played like Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto.
Okay.
That was like it.
Great games.
I mean, I was a console guy. I wasn't no PC Master Race or anything like that.
Oh, you're more PC?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was a console guy. I was never.
No, that's what. Yeah, we
PC.
never really did much PC.
We're not that big into PC gaming either. We were always console.
Well, everybody goes for that because the graphics are better and
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
But I'm all console. Pete, anything from back in the day?
Oh yeah, I had some games I used to remember. Ring and Run was big. I liked my favorite game was Ultimate Alliance.
You did talk a lot about
I
Marvel Ultimate
loved
Alliance was a
Ultimate
great
Alliance.
game.
The second one kind of weak, but the first one, I mean, I could never get to the Silver Surfer, so I just put the cheat codes in.
Nice. Well, it's one of those things. It was like a dream come true to like team. You have all these guys you can team up with from the Marvel
It
universe.
really was.
Awesome.
It plugged into that wish fulfillment stuff, and I also liked, and I can't get it more. It's called. There was originally Destroy All Monsters by Atari, and then they made
Yes.
Godzilla Save the Earth.
Yep.
Try to get a disc. My disc got scratched or something like that, and I can't get one. But you come home from a hard day of work. You go into Tokyo, you step on a few buildings. It takes the edge off. I really
It does
liked
something.
doing the
really,
Godzilla games.
No, there's nothing like mass destruction to make you feel better.
You pick up a building, you throw it at Anguirus, boom, he's down.
Now, in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, did you ever play the games that came out before it, X-Men Legends? Because that came out before Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
I know.
Yeah.
You know what it is? I was, because I'm a little older. No, I'm not 50,
tad,
but
right?
I'm a little older. But I Ultimate Alliance was like the first one that I plugged into. It was something like when I bought my first Xbox 360, it came with it.
Oh, perfect.
That's how I got. I didn't even pay for it.
Maybe tell you got like the arcade version or whatever.
Yeah, and it came with Forza
That's
and that.
awesome.
And then, I got so hooked on it when they would come out the second one, I put that. What did I do? I pre-ordered it, so I was able to get Juggernaut. He's like a really
nice.
excellent character. So, my wife would walk in. She's like, "Didn't you finish this? Didn't you level out
there's
on this?"
another one.
I want to watch the news. Get off the TV.
You should try that X-Men Legends.
Oh,
that plays
okay.
just like it, but it's more X-Men.
It's all from the X-Men universe, and then the second one you play as the heroes and the villains from the X-Men universe.
I gotta tell you,
really cool
I
stuff.
like playing the villains sometimes. I like to in Ultimate Alliance too. I like to use Venom. No, it was the first one. Venom is good.
And then if you really want to get absurd, you go to the Lego Marvel superhero games, which
Okay, the new one's coming out. That's all villains. Lego Marvel superhero villains.
yeah.
Well, it's probably a commentary on society. I mean, look what's
Don't
going No. Look
you're
what's
talking
going on.
about.
You
No,
turn on the
it's-
news,
it makes-
it's like watching Lego villains.
Well, it's like the Venom movie that just came out. People love the bad guy.
Yeah.
Is Mark Hamill playing Mark Hamill? Yeah, Mark Hamill. Is he playing the Joker in that game?
In the villains game? Yeah. I don't think so.
I sworn I heard his voice.
Oh, maybe it's him. I don't know.
Whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, no, that's good stuff. And then,
I don't have anyone comment. So
that's it.
I spilled the salt. I threw it over my shoulder, but I dusted myself. So.
Oh, right on him. Way to go. Alrighty. So other than that, I think Chiller worked out well. The one thing I wanted to mention.
What I bought.
Now, because there are some comic aficionados at the table.
Oh, are there? Okay, good. So, so I went to Chiller Theater, wound up buying comic books and video games instead of autographs because I'm not a big autograph guy.
How apropos.
Yeah, so I picked up some amazing Spider-Man comics from my collection. So I picked up 4 of those, going all the way back to number 128,
Oh,
which
look
was
at that.
really cool. Yeah, they were in great condition
damn.
too. So I was very happy with that.
Beautiful.
Including the one where the Hobgoblin reveals himself. I don't know if you guys remember that issue.
That's 80s.
Yeah, this is 80s. This is definitely 80s.
I was from the 80s,
This
so I
one
totally
goes,
remember
the rest
that.
of them are from the 70s and the 100s, which is really cool. And then
cool.
video game-wise, because, of course, I'm not going to go anywhere without finding video games.
Not at all.
So for the Wii U, which I know is more of a current system, I picked up Mario Party 10. I'm always been a big fan of Mario Party games, but now going all the way back.
This is awesome.
For the TurboGrafx 16. You weren't born yet.
You remember the TurboGraphic? You ever played the TurboGrafx?
I don't think I was born yet.
So the TurboGrafx 16, which came out in 1987, I believe, originally, 1987-88. But there was a wrestling game called Battle Royale, or Battle Royal. And if you've never seen a TurboGrafx 16 game, that's what it looks like. So it's just
it's a card.
It's a slim card that you just
It looks like something from like a movie.
Yeah.
Like
Looks
more
like
like, like looks like something from like a movie, like when they won something, like the key to like the next
Yeah,
room.
exactly. Well, it's like
Ready Player One.
It looks like a game from Dreamscape.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's like a key to the Holiday Inn or like a Hilton. You know, when they give you the key, it's like, yeah, it's exactly what it looks like. So, but that's what those games look like. So
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got the instruction booklet.
That's cool. That's even better.
So so that was what I got at Chiller Theater.
Cool. I think the only thing I bought was the pop vinyl, technically. So.
I think
Yeah. Well, all right.
No person.
I love how people just come and like, "What are you guys doing?" Yeah, we're recording. So, all right.
Uber professional.
All right, Anthony's got another comment, and it's
Yeah, go ahead.
actually a constructive criticism. Go ahead, son.
I don't have. Yeah, usually they're the guy at that place who has knives and stuff. He wasn't there. That's
Yeah, he
kinda
hasn't been there for a
depressing.
while.
you probably got
Yeah,
arrested.
but still, it's like a neat piece of art that's been left out.
It's just commentary on my parenting. My son's upset that the weapons guy isn't there. So.
Oh well.
Stop doing it now until they bring him back.
It's only fun when you have weapons.
He's
That's-
probably
that's
the
his
guy
motto.
that sent the bombs out. You never know.
I thought this was not a political show.
And with that, don't worry, I'm doing the editing. Don't worry.
The guy was from Florida, and he couldn't spell Florida. He ended
Florida's-
with an S or something like that. Yeah.
All right. So, but other than that, I think Chiller overall. Would you say Chiller was good?
One of the better ones. Can't
Yeah,
deny
it was a lot of fun. It was nice. It was nice to fly 3,000 miles just to go to this.
I'm glad. That's all. It's not like your birthday is tomorrow or anything.
How do you feel about the weather?
Oh, the weather's fantastic. I don't get rain where I live. It's nice to see.
All right. And Ant, Yin and Yang Ant, what do you think of the show?
I just thought it was it's probably the best chill I've been in. It of all the times I've been here.
He has he does have a concussion.
I think that's a concussion talking.
Well, I will look into Salino and Barnes.
As long as they don't sue each other. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna start to wrap this up because we're getting ready to wrap up our food. So first, let's go around the table. Where can we find you, Loki?
Sadly, you can find me on YouTube. No one watches me, but if you want to check me out, it's Lovable Loki. But also, I just want to let everyone know I'm coming out with content. I'm calling it Loketober. So if you want to enjoy that, it's like I have vlogs, adventures. One actually being Chiller Theater from last year. So if you want to take a look at that,
Timing is everything.
yeah, everything. It took me a whole year to edit it, and then I got like gaming videos coming out from Halo to Destiny to Minecraft. So if you like that type of stuff, I recommend staying tuned and staying frosty.
Absolutely. And we'll put the link up in the thing for your page.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. Pete, what are you doing?
I got nothing really to promote. Tony was in a band called Mr. Glasscock. I understand the debut album will be released on iTunes. The name of the album is The Crystal Rooster.
And Anthony, where can we find you?
Yin and the Yang podcast every Friday on the More of the Same network family of podcasts. We drop every Friday.
And where can we find you?
You can find me in Los Angeles.
Normally.
But Retro Gamers Podcast is on Facebook, facebook.com/Retro Gamers Podcast. You can look at us on YouTube now because we do video, even though we're not doing video this week.
This week, no video.
No video this week, but you can find the Retro Gamers Podcast on YouTube. Instagram at Retro Gamers Podcast. You can email us, email at theretrogamers.com. And where the hell are we? Spreaker,
Spotify, YouTube,
Amazon Alexa.
basically wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, just ask for it.
We'll make it that easy. Everyone, thank you very much for finally being on the show, even those who didn't say too much, but that's okay. Still happy to have you here. Ant, thank you very much for being here. And Ant, as always, it's glad to physically see you. And we'll see each other again tomorrow.
Yeah, we will. I'd say we'd make a habit out of it, but I don't want to.
That's a lot of flying for me. And with that, well, actually, the next time me and Anthony are going to be in the same room will be Thanksgiving week because I'll be in L.A. at that point. And with that, we're going to wrap it up, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and you can catch us right here next week on the Retro Gamers Podcast.